Yeah. Check. Oh, high tech. The 1997 Zoom. Check 1, 2.
Write a check. Write a check 1, 2. Write a check.
Write a check. Write a check 1, 2. Make it out.
That was December.
Check.
We're in January now.
We're good.
Anybody got 2 AA batteries in their pocket?
Got 2 in the room.
Really?
I don't know. Want me to grab them?
This guy might have minutes. You got it in there?
I don't know.
We're all good. We got a little bit left, and we got Sean on it. I shouldn't stress him out
He's
at all,
got
right?
one. He's got that one.
It's kind of scratched up.
If you find 2, we'll give you a free live podcast in exchange.
Weird.
1. We'll tell everybody else to leave.
As you can tell, we're preparers for this. Thanks, man.
Just the one.
So then just kind of control the volume of your laptop.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
On your laptop.
On the
I'll
laptop.
give you a little bit of headroom.
Check. Check. Check.
So I'm playing now.
Check.
You want me to tell you some double A's?
We're triangulating.
You know, there's also an In Motion song by Rico Basic. Recently passed away from the Cars, Rockstar.
No.
You want to hear his?
Has the
You want
podcast
to compare
started?
yours?
Is this a podcast yet, or are we
No,
just
not yet.
talking? Sorry. Okay. Sure.
This is Rico Basics, Emotion.
Okay.
Emotion is the theme of the podcast.
Oh. It's our new theme. What? Oh. Motion, motion.
I don't know, man. I think I like this better.
Motion, motion. That sounds good, man. I love it. Oops, sorry.
I like that. You killed it.
That's good, right?
That was
We don't have
good.
the rights to it, though.
4 o'clock. You killed it right here.
We don't have the rights to it, unfortunately. So we're not going to officially start quite yet, but a little fun fact about that: we every time we put the podcast on YouTube, we get a takedown notice for not that Emotion in Motion, but the one that I wrote, even though it's on our channel and I wrote it. But that's how good the Google YouTube algorithms are at identifying songs now, and it has to be cleared through my publisher, which is me. And so one hand shakes the other, and there's an exchange of 0.00001 cents for usage of it, and then everything's good.
So are you saying every time that they ding you,
Yes,
you have to approve?
we have to, yeah, Andrew does that. How's that a thing? That's a thing, man. Because if you use any copywritten material, they don't know that you own it also. It's like 2 different hands.
Wow, it's late.
Yeah, it's like,
We should use Rico Basics.
that's good. But then we gotta wait for him to give permission, because they're gonna pull it down.
Sound like some solid early 90s production and the guitars. It's great.
That's right.
All right. What's up, everybody? Oh, look at Sean with the batteries saving the day.
That's our battery guy. You see him, and then you hear him. Oh no, is that the right way? Yeah. Sean Wiley.
Sean Barlow. Can I see the batteries?
Should we officially start?
Yeah, let's get in a minute.
I mean, we're not gonna start the podcast, but let's start with
So yes, thank you guys for being here, first of all. Thank you so much. Last night, when this morning, as Adam and I were having coffee, we realized we had the exact same nightmare at 1:45 a.m. And it included us sitting in a room by ourselves doing a podcast, which turns out is what we do a lot. So it shouldn't have, but we're glad today to be doing it with an audience. This is our first time ever doing it with an audience.
I was thinking about like cutting my hair and shaving my beard and trying to convince people that I was Adam Neely. And then I was doing a podcast.
Okay.
And I still don't think it would
And
work.
then we could have said, yeah.
Yeah.
But we just thought we'd give you guys a quick kind of, before we do the actual, we're gonna do at least two episodes, probably 2, because we want to give you guys a chance to ask some questions too. And just for those of you that are not avid listeners, which is probably nobody, I'm sure. But in case anybody doesn't listen to the tough room, man, there's no windows here though. We can't jump out. For those of you that aren't familiar with the podcast, I'll just give you a quick kind of rundown. We do a daily jazz podcast. Why, you ask? We will explain that today at some point. But we've been doing it for 2 years now. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. We're
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to get each other a gift. What do you do at 2-year anniversary? Is that paper?
Get you
Yes.
So we did.
Diamond L's?
I got it. Sean, save the day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we've been doing this at the end of January. It'll be our 2-year anniversary. Adam's gonna take me out for dinner in the French Quarter that night. It's gonna be fun. But we started doing this, and it's kind of become. We're both I'm founder of a company called Open Studio, which is jazz lessons with jazz legends, Diane Reeves, Christian McBride.
Big words.
This is our creative director, Adam Manis. We're both jazz pianists, though, kind of first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
We still are, yeah. But it turns out we both have this love of podcasts. I love podcasts. I don't like jazz podcasts. Actually, I do. I don't know a lot of jazz podcasts. And so that was part of the idea to come up with a podcast about jazz. And now it's really just kind of becoming about music and that kind of thing. And we've had so many new listeners and got a chance to meet so many new people through doing this podcast because it's like a thing now, and we've had a lot of fun with it. We do it primarily, well, it's always audio, you know, it's available the usual places, wherever you get your podcasts, as they say, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify.
Nobody gets their podcast from Stitcher.
They do. You just because you don't have the app doesn't mean it's not a thing. Does anyone get on Stitcher?
Look.
See,
He does?
He's on Stitcher.
Freakonomics is on Stitcher.
Yeah.
Freakonomics is on Stitcher. That's how they get you. They have one ringer.
Yeah.
It's like Disney Plus.
Thank you for that. $100, you can leave now. You got it. No, but, so yeah, we're audio podcasts, and then we do some stuff on YouTube. Have you guys seen it on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're just kind of experimenting with that, and people seem to like that as well, but we're set up primarily as an audio podcast, right?
Primarily.
Yeah. Because the video is just us sitting there. We have several angles, but I'm surprised people want to see that.
Yeah, it's not much to look at.
But I'm looking at you all the time. So the way we do it in the studio, the pod cave, is sort of this angle with a circular table.
We're actually on the opposite sides. I feel very strange.
Is this you switch?
No.
No, we don't need to. Okay. So anyway, that's the that's how we developed the witty banter. It's just natural. But so what we thought we would do is to do the first episode. We generally do them. We never time them, and they're never scripted. And we toyed with the idea of scripting today's and getting more organized than we usually are. But we figured we would stick with the train that we came on, and that, you know, part of the process of doing a daily podcast is that you cannot have it sound really good, look really good, be highly scripted, be highly edited, and actually get it out every day, even if you have people to do that. So what we decided to do as we went along through experimentation was to get the audio quality really good, and I think that we nailed that. We built. There's a lot that goes into that is hard to understand, so you have to do it, controlling on things. But we did a great job, I think, on the audio, and then we tried to do very authentic content that is of interest to either Adam or myself, or hopefully both of us. That's when we really sort of nail it. So it's things that we kind of improvise on and discuss. And then we really just try to bring a lot of value to the listener in a very casual and entertaining environment.
Yeah, we take a lot of questions, emails.
We take a lot of questions,
There's
yeah.
a service called SpeakPipe, which is like our listeners can leave us a voicemail.
Yeah.
And yeah,
We just talk. So we're gonna do the first episode. You're gonna see what you think. We're gonna count how many people are in the room now, and judge by how many people leave, we'll know the quality level. Right? Very
I
scientific.
mean, we already know the quality level, but
That's
it's not that great.
Okay, so what's our first? And so this is really the way that it works. Like we'll come up with. Adam comes up with most of the ideas, and usually we're sitting down and about to record, and we jump in. This one we did sort of. We always have the titles and a few bullet points, and that's it, right?
Yeah, and we usually do a cheesy intro that is, we really are trying to throw each other as we do the intro. If you ever watch any of our intros, yeah.
Yeah, we just.
You have a question about the intros?
I have a question about what you're gonna be doing here, and.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we
So
did
it
explain
may not
that
fit
well.
into your 1 hour,
Yeah.
but I'd like to know about your gear and what your gear does.
So we're gonna talk gear between the two episodes. So
Yeah.
we'll take more questions between the two
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah. Any questions you think of, we'll do it at, you know, and
Yeah, nothing's off limits.
This is not our regular gear, by the way.
Yeah.
So, but we will talk what we use, because
Yeah.
it's evolved big time, and you
Yeah.
can hear the difference.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, let's just do it.
I thought we were starting.
Okay.
No, okay. Ready?
Hey, Adam,
Yeah, what's up?
where are we? Why are we not in the pocket?
Because we're at Gen, buddy.
We're at Jan. What is Jan? Please tell the people. Not everybody knows
The
that.
Jazz Education Network Conference.
Let's do it.
Smooth.
And this part, this is the only part that's edited. So the engineer, it's the same thing.
This is purely for your benefit. And
Yeah, we never do this live. It's kind of, this is actually appears.
I'm Adam Metz,
I'm Peter Martin,
and you're listening to the You'll Hear podcast.
a podcast about getting better at music and listening all the time.
Oh, you nailed it!
I nailed it.
We just switched the tagline.
We just switched the tagline.
I wasn't
and-
sure if you were gonna get it.
Just 2 weeks ago, but I'm a quick learner. Yeah, so 2020 is rolling. We're having a good time. Where are we? For those listening, they're not gonna know. If you're watching this, you're not gonna know either, because there's just
We're in
we're not the podcast.
Nolans, baby.
We're in Nolans, which we said we were not gonna publicly call New Orleans Nolans, but there we go. You did it in the first 20 seconds.
Rambling on down Bourbon Street.
We were on Bourbon Street last night. No, we're at the Gen Conference.
Yeah.
We're in front of a live audience.
Give it up, Jen. So last year, I went to Gen. You were overseas during Gen last year. I think you were in Europe.
I actually wasn't. I was at home, but the thing was in Reno, so I skipped it. No.
Yeah, I went to Reno. It was just in the booth, and I had so many You'll Hear listeners come up to me and be like, "Oh, what's up, You'll Hear?
Yeah.
This podcast, whatever." I was like, "We got to do a live You'll Hear It in New Orleans." And I know that New Orleans is kind of your adopted hometown. You lived here for many, many years.
Yes,
And
15
so
years.
I knew I could get you to come there.
This is an easy one. This is an easy one to come to
Yeah.
the birthplace of jazz, one of the true cultural capitals of the world, I think.
You gave a
very unique place.
You gave a great speech on Tuesday. Good job, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
And then we spent
Wait,
literally.
don't leave it so quick. Give them. They weren't there. Give them a summation.
You killed it. It was what was it? How to be a jazz musician in the
Well-
1926? What is it? What was it?
How to walk down Bourbon Street like a
Oh,
product.
yeah, authentic.
It was about jazz and becoming a startup founder.
Oh, it doesn't matter, he says that, yeah.
No, but it was fun, and it's been an amazing couple of days here, meeting a bunch of young musicians, and I'm so excited to have, nothing wrong with the older musicians too, but seeing the young people and getting to meet some of you guys, some of our listeners, and just, I just ran into Branford Marsalis outside. I was like, "What's up, Branford?" He was like, "Who are you?" I was like, "You played on one of my records." Oh, that's okay. No, that didn't happen. I'm just kidding.
No, but
But I did just see Branford.
other than hanging with Branford and the speech that you gave,
Yes.
we've only gone and toured places you've lived in this town. How many houses did you live at when you lived here, man?
I was having a little problem in the late '90s with evictions. I'm not gonna
Oh my
lie.
God! Like we went to like we've already saw how many we've been to like 4 or 5 places at least
Yeah.
that you lived at.
Yeah.
How long did you live here? 50 years.
15 years. 15 years. Yeah. It's been a trip down memory lane, but yeah, that was been fun.
Eating some really good food so far.
Hearing some really good music, eating some great food. And,
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about today?
Well, we thought we'd have fun with the conference. So music conferences are inherently weird,
Yes.
and
They're so meta.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody kind of knows everything, the same things, which is great because everyone's passionate about them, but you can't really tell anybody about something because they already know
and we're also, if you're here right now, no offense, but you are the nerdiest of the nerds that come to these things. We're one of you,
it.
so
Yes, we are. It's a safe space for jazz.
it's a space for jazz nerds for sure.
And it's very exciting.
So we're gonna talk about the 7 crucial skills to navigate a music conference, in this case, Gen.
Is that the title we're settling
That
on?
is the title.
I like it. 7 crucial skills to navigate.
A music
A music
conference.
conference, like
Because
that.
like NAMM is next week, so I thought this would be applicable
That's
to people at NAMM.
Yeah.
Are we going to NAMM?
I wasn't planning on it, but we could. We
Can
could
you just like keep it rolling?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start out with number 1. Speaking of NAMM.
Yeah. So these are the 7. I just like to repeat things because sometimes people tune out.
You don't
Right?
gotta qualify.
Okay. Sorry. 7 crucial skills to navigate a music. I'm just trying to get it in my head. Okay. What's the first?
The NAMM points.
The NAMM point.
I don't know if this originated in NAMM, but this is when you see the most musicians pointing and smiling at other musicians. You
Right.
gotta have the skill to navigate. No, that's not the NAMM point. If we're taking a picture, we do this, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you
That-
point at
you
each
gotta
other.
Point at each other.
Yeah.
Smile. This guy.
Yeah.
I think it's so crucial. I'm gonna start my own Instagram of musicians smiling and pointing at other musicians.
Right. And then sometimes there's even like,
The double point, the peace point,
Yeah.
and then the double point.
Yeah, and then it's like, we don't do that one. The thumbs down.
Thumbs down. That's later.
That's later.
All right, what's number
So
2?
that's the 9 point. Great. Oh, number 2, the bro hug.
Bro hug's very important skill to develop.
That's right.
You gotta know how to read your bro that you're about to.
That's right. There can be a little bit of "don't touch me, bro." That's
Yeah. You ever try going for a bro hug and
And then the hand goes out. I know.
The handshake.
And I'm always
no.
Yeah, I'm a hugger, and so I do a lot of just a handout, and then I get people hugging back to
All right,
me.
people don't
and they're
know
like,
bro
"Wow." I'm like, "Oh, I'll go in and hug."
Let's bro hug.
This is gonna be great on video. Tuck it in. There we go.
That's the bro hug. Classic music conference greeting.
Yes.
I've done at least 50 of those today.
Yeah.
Number
Have
3.
you been washing your hands? Okay, good. Number 3 is the humble nod.
The humble nod.
Humble nod.
Oh,
How's
yeah,
this
that's
going? This one.
That's when you're talking to someone and they're like, oh man, you're a bad cat.
You're the one. No, you. No, you. I'm just trying to hang.
The humble nod.
Yeah, too much humility. Yeah.
You know who's a master of that? You know our buddy St. Louis's own Mark Kohlenberg, drummer
Yes.
with Robert Glasper.
Oh yeah.
He is the most humble knob person I've ever met in my life.
He's so humble. He's cocky. Actually.
Like you're like, hey Mark, how you doing? He's like, nah.
Yeah. Actually, now that I think of it, maybe he's doing the nod to the bro hug. Maybe.
Oh, you're going in for the bro hug? And he's
That's what
like,
he's saying no to.
nah.
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
I don't think I got number 4.
Number 4 is vibe skills. So if you're gonna take a lap around the exhibition hall,
Yes.
you gotta go a little dark with some vibing at some point.
Right.
I mean, you shouldn't because it's impolite, but if you really want to navigate a conference from start to finish, some vibing is necessary.
That's right. So
There was
that's-
a point yesterday where some high school trumpet players were all trying to hit a C
Oh yeah.
at the same
You
time,
made a video vibing.
and I vibed them from across the room, but they weren't. The C's were it was such a wall of
Yeah.
fail that I don't think my vibe got there.
No,
That
you-
was a little mean, but it was true.
And then Adam, you were upset that they weren't getting the vibe of you vibing them, so you pull out your smartphone,
And
as it were, and approach them.
I Instagram vibe.
Yeah, you Instagram vibe them. It went worldwide.
It wasn't that mean. It was more playful.
That one, so the vibe skills, that's kind of a twist on the humble nod. It's like the opposite, right? It's not the nod, it's like
Flip
nod.
side of the
It's
coin, it's the
actually
humble
nod.
nod. Yeah.
It's the non-humble nod.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we got for number 5?
Number 5 is the distant point. Now this is very, from across a ballroom, you gotta be able to recognize someone and give them a, hey, what's happening?
No, not you. No.
Yeah, and then you get the person that points back and you don't really know them, but they're like, yeah. And then you're like, nah.
Nah, yeah. The fun of these is when you start to combine them.
Yeah.
You're saying nah.
Bro hug, yeah.
Mix it all up.
The distant point, it's not like the NAM point. The NAM point is strictly for photographs. The distant point is like, hey, I see you.
Yeah.
We're gonna bro hug.
And
Nah, later.
not to jump back, but the NAM point, now I'm thinking that's really evolved into some selfie skills or lack of skills, right?
For sure.
Because a lot of times, what's hard is to do like while you're while you're holding up the selfie. So normally you have to get somebody else to take the picture. But I've seen some guys do the NAM point and it's like they got 3 arms.
That's next level.
Yeah, next level.
That's next level.
Yep. All right, so number 6. Okay, this one we could wax eloquent on.
You are so good at this one. No.
Hey. Are you serious? Oh, come on, man. Just talking about my life.
Who did you just talk to just before you got in here?
Brand for Marcellus.
Oh.
Bam.
Number 6 is the name drop.
Yeah.
You gotta work on your name drop skills.
That's right.
I was just talking to Rick Gatto about this a couple nights ago.
We were reviewing YouTube strategies together. Yeah. The name drop. I mean, I think that it's definitely a safe space because everybody knows each other and sort of knows leaders in different areas, which is exciting. But it can really go overboard because it's such a concentrated situation. So how do we avoid that?
What, the name drop?
Yeah.
You don't avoid it.
Oh, you
You
don't
tone
avoid
it
it.
down so that it looks like you're still kind of humble,
Right.
but you make it known that you know someone more famous than the person you're talking to. I think,
Ah.
at least in my experience, that seems to be what people do at Gen.
Right. Sometimes I'll even go the other way. Like you'll be like, oh, I was just talking to Brand from Marcellus. Who? Who is that? I don't know him. Who? What does he play? No, he plays saxophone. What's that?
What is that?
No, just total ignorance of everything. Because then the name drop won't work.
We kind of got name dropped by Mike back here last night. We were hanging, and he dropped some New Orleans cats on us, and we were like,
Oh, he did, yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, is he a hipster NOLA guy? Like, is he like, well, I was a fan of his before you even knew who he was. I think that's the vibe we got. We got a little name drop from Mike.
Right. Wait, did he say that to us or we said that to him?
No, he said that to us. You don't remember. It was
No,
a
I
few
remember.
Sazeracs in.
That wasn't my sad. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Oh, and I gave Steve Mazikowski your message, by the way. You didn't think I was gonna remember that? Yeah. He's gonna meet you in the loading dock in about 30 minutes.
You dropped that name.
Oh, yeah. Steve Mazikowski. I'm just showing what's going on here. All right, 6, that was the name drop.
We're at 7 already. We do have
We're
a
at
bonus,
7.
though. We do have a bonus.
Oh, good.
Now, 7 is interesting because it's already happened during this podcast.
Right, okay,
It's
so
happening right now, as a matter of fact.
it's happening right, it just happened.
It's
The
the
guy-
phone check slip out.
Yeah, the phone checks.
You know how you're like, you're at one of these things and
Yeah.
we were born that guy and he was
Yeah.
like,
Why did he could have just left? We don't care. But the need, like, it's this need. When people are just so. Hold on, I got a text. People are so addicted to their phones. Oh, Mark Whitfield just texted me. Boom! I can find the name drop and the phone.
you know what I mean? It's all day like this too.
But yeah, no, I mean, people. There's other interesting things, believe it or not, happening besides us, and so people will. But it is funny. No one just like looks at you and just walks out. It's always like. So it's a little bit.
You look, but you have to do that so you look like you're going somewhere important.
So you might have to drop a name in combination with it, that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's, yeah, you can be like, oh, Mark Whitfield, okay.
Yeah.
I would love to stay for this riveting podcast.
And actually, I
There's
love.
no way that kid was going to see Mark Whitfield, by the way.
Yeah, no. Okay, so wait, I just figured out a way we can combine 3 of these. The phone check with the bro hug and the distant point. Now, you might think that's impossible, but check this out. Okay, so you're like,
What?
so you're in the,
Well,
pretend
no,
I'm in
say
the
that
back.
again. Bro hug, distant point, phone check.
Yeah, we're combining it.
Wait, who are you hugging though?
No, you're hugging from afar to the like, he could have done that to us, like, I gotta go, but love you, bro, and I'm out.
I've never mind hug anybody from across the
Really? I just did that to Ralph Marcellus 5 minutes ago. Name drop. I combined 4. There you go.
All right, well, that's our 7. We do have a bonus, but before that, we are sponsored by Open Studio. Go to openstudiojazz.com to check out courses by Peter Martin, Jeffrey Keezer, Christian McBride. I got some stuff on there too. Sean Jones, president of Gen,
That's right.
making the rounds, being presidential. I saw him earlier today.
Now who's dropping names? Big guy.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean Jones, before he was just a lowly open studio artist before he was the president of Gen. We're sponsored by Open Studio, and we're also kind of sponsored by Gen today, right?
Yeah, Jen's been very kind
Yes.
and allowing us to have this tiny, stuffy room.
That guy did the opposite. He just did the opposite phone check. He came in and put his phone away.
That guy had checked his phone. He was somewhere else, checked his phone, was like, oh, you
Somebody texted him, come in here.
Yeah, and then came to the podcast.
Okay, so we've got a bonus on the. Okay, so let's just do a quick review. We like to do this. Number 1, these are 7 crucial skills to navigate a music conference, and I'm going to say these are so high level. These are so advanced. You could navigate a. You can navigate the United Nations with these.
Well, let's try it with NAM next
The
week.
U.S. Congress. You can navigate. Let's try it. Okay, number 1.
The NAM points.
Okay.
That's for photos only.
Yeah. I was going to say it comes across better when you can see us, but they can actually see.
Do you ever do the trick with people where they're like, can you take our picture and you take a video?
Oh, I
It's
do that all the time.
awkward, like 5 seconds, where they're like,
Yeah. Have you checked me yet? Every
Yeah.
video. Actually, when I did this in the French Quarter this morning, some tourists from, I believe they were from Iowa, and they had a redneck guzzler full of rum punch at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if they were just getting up or it was from last night. They're like, can you take a picture of us on Bourbon Street? And right before I took their picture, and I do this a lot, I take a picture myself. You know, it's a memento of that. Yes.
that's me.
That's me. It's
Yeah.
weird too.
Actually, I think that woman did she do it on your phone last night?
Yeah,
I went to the
yeah.
Pelicans game last night,
Yeah.
the NBA game. and
Big shout out to Zion Williams. Love seeing you in your suit.
His too tight suit, that was amazing. It was a little tight.
It was a little
On the
tight.
shoulders.
Well, we wanted to see him in the uniform playing.
Yeah, really. It was a good game though.
It was a good game. Brandon Ingram is is this part of the podcast?
No, we've gone way off the
Okay.
rails.
He's like 6'11", 146 pounds, and just dunking out.
He's like,
It's
yeah.
really amazing. Yeah. Okay, so back to our list.
Yeah.
7 crucial skills.
We
One-
only went through one, nap
Okay.
point, number 2.
2, bro hug. We're not gonna do it again, but you remember that one. Number 3.
Humble knob, man, you are so killing.
No, not me.
Oh, come
no,
on.
you.
No.
I just heard, what was that project
No,
you
no,
did,
no,
that
no, no.
record?
Man, no, I'm just trying to work it out.
Did I just see you with Brian from Marcellus?
No,
Come on, man. All
All
right.
right, you. Number 4, vibe skills.
Nah.
Oh, you gonna wear that blazer the rest of the day? All right, bro.
I actually forgot what that one was. 5. I know this one. 5, the distant point.
You got it.
Distant point.
Number 6, name drop.
Oh, we did that a lot already.
Yeah.
They got that one. 7, the phone check, slip out. Actually, wait, what was we had a variation of this one. This is usually for leaving something. Oh, you can use this when somebody's talking to you and you want to get away from that. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Mark, just text.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
You can use it for slipping out of situations. Hopefully I didn't do that to anybody. If I did, I apologize.
All right, and so we did our sponsorship, and so now it's time for the bonus. 'Cause
Yes.
We're not running long at
No,
all.
we're doing
I just
good.
wanna- I just
We're doing
wanna
good.
end this.
Before Sean Jones comes and shuts us
Shuts us
down,
down.
turns off the electricity in here. Although you just feel some air conditioning came on.
Oh, really?
I think they heard you dig at them about the stuffy room.
It's been super.
Hey Alexa, turn the air conditioning back on. Hey Sean
All right,
Jones.
our bonus is to prepare a rip lick
Ooh,
before you come down. You have to have something where when you sit at whatever instrument you're gonna sit at, you can just rip something attention grabbing.
yes,
Like the high school kids trying to hit that high C,
right.
they should have practiced that a little more.
Yeah, if you're a trumpet player, just playing a high C is not a rip lick.
No,
It's not even music. You just be a phrase going up to it, you know what I mean? Although did you like my rip lick on the Yamaha?
no, it was great.
That
man.
was not great.
That was great.
Nah. No, but I had a reason for that, because I don't want to lose my Steinway sponsorship. Oops, drop that name.
Well,
And that's advanced name dropping. It's not just people, it's corporations. Studio. Until tomorrow.
you'll hear it. All right.
That's it.
That's
That's
it.
how the magic happens.
So, launch.
Okay, so that is scarily very close, if not exactly, to how this actually happens. We're a little bit nervous because of the audience and because we don't have our normal coffee and Old Granddad bourbon and some of our accoutrements. But I mean, this is very similar.
Yeah, we don't do hardly any edits, unless Peter cusses, which he does quite a bit,
Yeah,
or says something offensive, which he also does quite a bit.
it's been known to happen.
We don't do any edits, and we just kind of let it run.
Right. So that's, and then the timing on it always, I don't even know how long, but it felt like about 14 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that. We never time them out, and we never ask our audience how long they want it to be.
That
But
one
we
was
have,
probably closer to 20. But
Oh, was
think it's- Yeah, we went on some tangents in there.
we did,
So,
like
no.
usual, so. Okay, you guys have any questions?
Well, he was asking about the gear. So,
All right, the microphone is the most,
yeah, so we started out on lavalier mics.
Yeah, I was gonna ask why not lavalier, because every time you turn away from the mic,
I
you
know,
start to lose it.
Well, these are terrible.
these are terrible.
But this came.
Big shout out to Jen.
Yeah, but they, honestly, I came in.
Love you, bro.
I came in here to check the room at 12:30 and there was nothing in here. And we had worked out, like, we have mics in here. And,
Yeah, Jen made 9 months in advance, you have to tell them the exact equipment, or you're not allowed to.
and they were like, we have no idea what you're talking about. We're not gonna have PA in here. We're not gonna have any microphones. So I think they just threw together.
Yeah.
These are obviously terrible vocal mics, you know, the 57s. But we usually use Shure SM7D Cardio Dynamics. They're the big, they look like this.
A lot of people call them podcasting mics, 'cause
Yeah,
it's like,
I've seen them a ton. They sound great.
Do you put the spit guard and everything on them?
Nope, we
no,
don't,
we don't spit.
don't
It's
really.
a spitless
You
podcast.
get some, if you say
Don't
a.
get excited.
Never happens. Not yet.
If you say a P, like, right into them, you might get a little something, but it's not like that.
They're really made for this kind of, that's why, it sounds okay with this.
But especially for male voices, the range we're in, it really has a nice, low, tenor quality to them. So they're just perfect for us.
And I think even doing this where it's we don't have really comfortable chairs, but we're comfortable in them because we're just
It
used to
feels
it.
actually weird not to swivel.
Yeah, and then we've got the mics on a swivel thing coming down, kind of up and down, and so you can get it right. So we're basically like this, or however you want to be. So we're always picking up, it in a way that's natural. So I think that's the main thing, is like get the best mics you can. And, but we started with literally $20 labs, didn't we, at the beginning?
Yeah, we started very, very cheaply and it sounded terrible.
It's not bad.
We also are.
But we weren't very good either.
No, we were also terrible.
Yeah.
But
It's a match made in heaven.
But our studio's in St. Louis, it's an old theater, so it's 35-foot high ceiling. So we've also built what we call the pod cave, which is basically like,
It's a closet.
it's a closet, like inside the 35-foot. It's a 3-sided closet and with low ceilings, and it really helped cut down
You
on.
baffle it or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. And
Everything's sound, it's just totally dead in there.
yeah, it smells terrible. So musty as hell.
Well, that's because the sound stuff we brought in was from an old studio, like the sound absorption material.
Yeah, we got free from a college studio that was throwing it.
Yeah, the whole process of doing this, like it was such a guess about this and an experiment. We didn't want to spend any money on it at the beginning. So every time we spend money, it's like, oh, we gotta make the podcast. Well, it was like a pet project. But then it became such a big marketing channel for us, we could kind of justify. We still haven't spent a lot, but we would sort of start to add things. But the audio quality was always what it was. But I would just encourage anybody, and I would encourage anyone who does have an interest in doing podcasting, jump right in. I mean, you can, with a lavalier, like a Rode lavalier, and this, we never did that like that base because we already had a lot of equipment because we're a video production company, but we didn't have specific podcasting. Like we had great mics for a piano, but they weren't really great for for this. But with a smartphone and a Rode microphone, you can make a surprisingly professional sounding podcast and start to develop your audience with that. So don't feel like you have to have all this equipment and stuff like that.
And we also use Logic, just really basic stuff. We have a producer that is there with us as we're recording. He's our audio engineer for our video.
Yeah.
And he's actually keeping notes. If we mention anything and he wants to link to in the description, those things are very handy to have and help build your audience. We used a service called Acast, A-C-A-S-T.
I think it's Acast.
Acast?
Yeah.
Acast. It was for Ripon, but it's an awesome service that just, it puts your podcast on every single possible outlet that you want to put it on. And it keeps great stats, so we know where we are at all times.
Acast. Yeah, A-C-A-S-T. Mr. Poses.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Moore. How many people average listen or have, per episode?
I believe we get approximately between 60 and 90,000 downloads a month on Apple iTunes. Or is that everything?
No, that's
Everything on Spotify?
That's iTunes. Spotify is more, is adding more. It's not as much as that, but
Yeah.
it's
Spotify has
20% of that is Spotify too.
Right.
Does that translate into income?
It does actually, but more for our business, for Open Studio. It's become the single biggest top of the funnel marketing tool we have. And it's an amazing tool for our business because you get to know us. You get to see that we're human beings who have opinions on things and experiences with things. And then hopefully if you want to learn something about how to play jazz piano, you come to us eventually.
Yeah, and we don't do we actually have a couple of sponsors right now, but we only, the way you can monetize a podcast is kind of complicated and convoluted and takes, it's definitely possible. There's people, Joe Rogan and, Rich Roll, and I'm super nerd on podcasts, and so I follow this stuff a lot. But because we didn't really set it up for that, we're getting a little bit involved in that, but we don't have a huge amount of time because we're putting out so many episodes. So we've been approached by a few sponsors that we were like, it wasn't gonna be a lot of money anyway, and it was kind of crappy products that we didn't think our listeners were gonna like anyway, so we're like, why are we gonna do that? So, but the ones that we've done, AnyTune, which is a great app that we approached them. I started playing with this app, I was like, shit, we need to, I wanna work with them, and so
It's an app that helps you transcribe music, and
it's like an Amazing Slow Down, but it's way hipper.
Yeah, it's super.
Big shout out to Amazing Slow Down, if the founders in here, sorry. Yeah, so we're kind of interested in doing some things like that. If anybody's interested in, what we have, we don't have in the world of podcasting a huge listenership, 70, 90,000 a month, but in a niche, an Uber kind of niche like what we are, those are pretty big numbers, because.
Number one in Poland.
We are number one music commentary podcast in Poland, yeah. And I think we've gone up as high as number 7. The podcast charts 7 in the US, the podcast charts very
wildly, because most podcasts that are high on the charts are not like ours where they're putting out 20 episodes a month. We're daily, Monday through Friday. Typically your high charting podcasts are coming out once a week or once every 2 weeks. Companies like Gimlet Media and Vox and like these companies that are spending, you know, upwards of 20 to 50,000, sometimes $100,000 per episode. Just they do it a different way. They have to have more sponsorship, and they can't. There's no way they can get it out that quick. So we are starting to see some real interest from sponsors that are wanting to reach this super kind of niche thing, like Oxford American, which is a great literary magazine. I don't know how they saw that, but I mean, you know, kind of crossing over into different things, but people that are very engaged, you know, with us and are kind of coming back every day, that kind of thing. But it hasn't really been a focus of what we're doing. So Steinway, so we are trying to get them. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. I would love that. All they gotta do is give us, you know, panel week. We'll talk about
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Anyone else have any questions about podcasting or anything?
Why censor it?
Why censor it? Oh, I was just kind of half joking.
Mean
Are
the
you
curse
talking about,
words?
like, curse words?
Yeah.
No, we curse all the time. I was
Yeah,
more than the offensive things that it was just digging at him.
yeah. He forgot we weren't doing an episode anymore.
Yeah.
Once this guy gets on, like sometimes we're just hanging out. I think as friends. and
We can't even hang out.
We can't,
anymore.
because I'll be like, hey, Adam.
Hey Pete.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, but we do want, we haven't actually ever talked about it. I want it to be something, my kids are older now, but like, you want it, we should be a little bit sensitive, I think, with the curse, just because it's for adults or for, like young kids. We don't do anything crazy, but we sort of talk naturally. But I do feel like if somebody's listening to it in the car, like a lot of people, they got like a 4-year-old, and then, you know.
I get tired of the F-bomb. I get tired of it.
Yeah, and if it becomes like a thing, you know, I think for us, it just, if it happens, and I don't even know how often it happens, I couldn't even tell
You know, maybe once a week we'll drop a bomb somewhere, but it's not very often.
Right.
And when we do, our producer Andrew's like, whoa.
Yeah.
If there's time for another question.
Absolutely.
You got these wires and you got these black boxes here. What does it all do?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
How
so
does it work?
this, we are, because we're mobile here, this is just a Zoom recorder. We're taking a feed off of the board here from the hotel. Usually we just go into our microphone interface that goes to Logic. Like I'm not recording.
Right, to the computer.
Yeah, we're recording on this mobile recorder, and that's it, just our voices. But usually we have it like set up, we usually have a mini keyboard on the table, and actually we're building a new podcast facility right now where we'll have Flying V double 80
Yeah, we both have
MIDI keyboards so that we can actually just sit down and play.
You know they're not actually flying. You keep saying that. You're excited about
No,
it.
it's the shape, bro.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
the Flying V.
He gets like a twinkle in his eye every time he says that.
I always wanted a Flying V guitar.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's pretty much it. So this is just like our mobile rig. We've actually never done it this way, but it's working, so I'm just gonna see how it works. But these mics are terrible.
Yeah, these mics. Actually, the mics on that Zoom are probably better for recording.
Yeah, but it has to be like,
I know. Yeah, but you've done some interviews where they come out pretty good with that.
for sure.
But like I say, really, sometimes I'm like, we have a good setup and have invested in a fair amount of equipment for this other stuff that we produce. And that's part of the reason. It's a complicated thing. Like sometimes I wish, the fun thing about this is we can just come in here and do it like this, you know. The way we have things set up, like I couldn't go in there and do it because I know a little about Logic. They always laugh, like, just turn the thing on and push record, you idiot, Mr. CEO. But I can't really, it's beyond me doing it. So whatever system you have, if you want to get into podcasting, keep it in, like grow with it. You never want the technology to be something you don't understand or can't do because then you lose focus on the content. And that's what people really do. And like I started the 2 Minute Jazz on YouTube 10 years ago now. And the first videos that I did literally look like they're hostage videos. And they're so bad. And I look bad, the video quality's bad. It's not like, oh, I look great, but the video quality, no, everything's bad. I got a bad attitude, the whole thing is bad. But the one thing that I was doing was giving out information that people were interested in. So, but now like we're in this day and age where people want, especially younger people want, and rightfully so, they want incredible video production, great information, they want it spoon-fed, they want it free, they don't want it to be just 2 minutes, they want it 20 minutes, they want it on any device they can get, and they want it to be perfectly fast. Like people don't understand if you're in the middle of this building and you're oh, I got 2 buggers, why isn't this coming? These idiots at Open Studio, their videos suck. Swipe. but they don't know that like, that's a YouTube thing, they don't have enough.
Bad attitude returns.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's like, you know, we used to be like, well, that's all I get is 2 minutes, and I was like, no, let's try to give them something, so.
We used to be like that.
Yeah. So yeah, do we have any other questions? We're gonna do the second episode, just to warn you guys, in case anyone wants to do the old phone look and I gotta leave, it's gonna be a little more serious, and a little more, right? We're still doing, why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just judging what's being played behind us here.
This deserves lots of judging this. You know, we're gonna do an analysis of this.
We'll take more, yeah.
Still going.
Yeah, okay, so musical examples, and this is really tied to the question about sponsorship too. This is the thing, the podcast actually originally, and still basically the way it works, you cannot sell a podcast. Not on the Apple system, which still is like 70% of the market. They do not allow you can't, there's no paid podcast in terms of that. I mean, there's ways to get around with Patreon, all these things. And so because of that, you can kind of, they don't really have a flagging system, so we play stuff and just kind of wait to see like YouTube if they're gonna take it down, and almost nothing. Have we ever had anything taken down?
No, even the Keith Jarrett gets played.
Yeah, I mean, Keith Jarrett, you cannot play 3 seconds of Keith Jarrett on YouTube, and we've done that, and it's immediately, you know, taken down.
Yeah.
But on the podcast, you can, and I don't know if it's a fair use thing up to a certain amount, but, you know, the worst thing they could do is tell you to take it down, but they can't come back after and say, we want the copyright monetization, because there is no monetization of it, you know? I'm a pianist and a podcaster, not an attorney, so, but our experience has been pretty good on that side. But then the same episodes, we put them on YouTube.
You play one on TV, you turn
Yes, I do. When I hook up the YouTube to my Roku television, and then anyway.
Let's do our second episode.
Tell you
We'll
in my
take,
mind.
we'll take more questions after this episode. If you think of anything, don't hesitate to raise your hand.
That's right.
But,
We're about to go deep here.
let's go deeper.
Yeah.
Shall we?
And actually, this is kind of, you know, those of you that listen to the podcast, is a little more along the lines, that last one was fun, and we do some funny stuff.
So
But
we vary it up. We'll do our
We
list
vary
of
it up.
sevens, we'll do some listening
Yeah.
stuff, we'll do some, the popular ones are usually when we're like, play this voicing at this time, and
Yeah.
like, tell me what to play.
Yeah. And I mean, part of the reason we change it up too is because people like it, but it's really also, we're trying to hit a certain quality level and a certain velocity of 1 per day. And so you have to do things that you're passionate about, and we could not do those kind of episodes in a row. I mean, we would be strangling each other. So,
We got 20 minutes in the room. Come on, keep it tight, keep it tight.
okay, let's do it.
This happens a lot when we're
Are we
recording.
gonna do the thing at first, or we're not gonna do that? Yeah, we're gonna do the thing. Because you weren't even ready last time.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Hey, Alec,
Hey, what's up?
are you gonna be ready for the start of this podcast like you weren't yesterday? Do you hear that trumpet? Beautiful. Now it's a sax.
I was thinking.
Okay, we're doing it. Now, we do, okay, these are the only parts, we don't edit them, but sometimes they're just stupid or they're.
Well, I just had my volume down.
But I-
The joke in my head. Let's try it.
Yeah. You guys aren't really helping with your vibe. Actually, that's good. If we get some shuffles, we're gonna continue. I think everyone thinks you can't make any noise. You certainly can make noise.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Adam.
How many Jasmines does it take to make a podcast?
No, I was gonna say 1, 2, like every day. Sometimes we do get to this point where like, we look at each other and think
I'm Adam Metz.
And I'm Peter Martin.
You listen to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Daily music, banter, advice, and everything to spice up your day. Coming at you.
Now, you messed up the
I did
tag
mess it
word,
up.
but we're
I
gonna
did
keep
mess
it.
it up.
We're gonna keep. We're not. We only have this room for another 19 minutes. We made an awkward jazz nerd joke to begin.
Awkward AF.
We had a false start, which
Yes.
never happens.
Never happens. We're off to a good start, and we're going to be covering a very serious subject, and which people already know because they've clicked on this or listened. They see the title.
Can I just say something though
Yes.
about the awkward timing of me playing Emotion in Motion, your track?
Yes.
You need to, whoever mastered this,
Yeah.
there's 3 seconds of dead space before you come into the track.
Yeah, that was by design. We're going to talk about that.
That was an artistic choice, really.
It was very artistic.
Okay, I don't mind it for a second.
So today, what are we talking about?
I don't know, man, this is your day.
Okay, no, this is our day. So this is kind of serious. We want to give you what we think is the #1 mind shit. This is bad. Now this does occasionally happen where the whole thing is on. The intro wasn't good. Let's do it again.
Oh, man, all right, you got it. Continue.
All right, here we go. Then, little trick, you do have somebody add a clap.
We're losing them. Hurry up.
You look at your phone first, girl.
Strong.
You came very strong.
All right, you got it.
Okay. Hey, Adam,
What's up?
where are we? We're still here?
We're still here.
Being on Bourbon Street?
We are not on Bourbon Street. We're at Jen.
Jen.
Woo!
Live in the house.
Perfect. I'm Matt Benz,
And I'm Peter Martin,
and you'll listen to You'll Hear It.
a podcast about listening and playing music better.
Third time's the charm,
Well,
buddy.
that's how we do it. Never edit. More than 3 times a day.
Yeah, never let him know that we just took 3 times to get that intro right.
We're gonna edit this part out, don't worry.
No, we're not. We are live at Jen, and we're here in a tiny, stuffy conference room at the Jazz Education Network conference. We've had a good week so far.
Yes, we're in a stuffy room, but with some very non-stuffy folks that are, I think, having a good time. We're having a good time with them. We're excited to have a live audience.
How about those poor boys yesterday?
Where we talked about calling them poor boys, that's a no-no. In Nolans,
Oh, sorry, is it
po boys.
poor boys?
Po boys. Po boys. Yeah, those were good.
Cool, I don't feel
You
comfortable.
took a nap afterwards. What was that?
Oh my
That
gosh.
was-
I've been full the
I
entire.
told you to do the 6s, don't go to the 12s.
That was Sean. That was Sean's idea.
That was.
Blaming him. Anyway, what are we talking about today?
Today,
This is your
we are-
day.
okay,
You got
well,
it,
no.
You got it. This sounds like the CEO's day.
No. This is something that I've been thinking about, and I'm actually excited because it kind of crystallized for me this morning. I mentioned it to you just a little bit. You were like, save it for the podcast, which I always take as a stamp of approval, so I appreciate that. But this is our number one mindset shift for musical growth in 2020. Okay?
Oh, that's very catchy.
Yeah, it's very.
Say
No.
it again. Say it again. What is it?
The number one mindset shift for musical growth in
The
2020.
number one mindset shift for musical growth. in
Yeah, and I know that that's promising a lot, but I'm really passionate about this idea. And I just want to tell a quick story about this morning. We are in New Orleans, and I lived here for a number of years. I actually lived here from 1991 through 2005. And those of you old enough to remember those years will know one thing that didn't exist during that time was a little thing we call a smartphone. Okay?
Yeah.
So I went for a run this morning, and I kind of went out and I went to a part of town like French Quarter and the Marigny down to Bywater that I hadn't been to, on foot in a long time. Excuse me. And what I realized was I remembered my way around those neighborhoods better than where I live now, better than almost any place that I've been. And I was thinking about that. I was like, is it because New Orleans is so unique? Yeah, maybe so. But what I came to realize is that I was navigating these streets at a time when you had to learn your way around without GPS, without having your head down buried in something. You had to ask somebody directions. You had to, and then New Orleans is unique too because north, south, east, west means nothing because of the way the city is like,
It's a crescent.
it's a crescent, it's not a grid. So that got me thinking of something that I've been thinking about anyway, which was analog versus digital. So playing jazz music, playing any music that demands you to learn to improvise, to develop your ears, to learn advanced harmony, to really sort of dig in and do something special, hopefully, if you're lucky enough to ever play something special. But that skill set is what we would call an analog skill set. Like, there's no app for that.
Okay, I think I'm with you.
You coming with me now?
I mean, it sounds like, is this going to be a bit of an episode of like old man yelling at cloud?
It's totally.
Okay.
But the spin on it though
I can get
is,
into those.
yeah, but we're living in a digital age, so that's fine. So it's like, how do we learn a skill, i.e. play jazz, but I don't want to restrict it just to jazz because that's ridiculous. It's just how to play music, how to express yourself on your instrument,
Mhm.
maybe with a group of people in a way that's meaningful to an audience,
Interesting.
right? Not how to duplicate, a song that you produced, that was produced for you, and you just duplicate it over and over again because people like what it sounds, but like how to actually create something.
And so you're suggesting here that the analog mindset is the superior way to grow as a musician?
Well, I didn't want to get that dogmatic, but yes.
You'd love to get done. What are you talking about?
Well, no, I think that, we don't want to go back in time. You don't want to be that hipster at the coffee shop who pulls out his typewriter and, feeds it in, and, no, we're not ignoring technology, and, I love technology. I'm an early adopter, and we want to leverage it, but for the specific skill set needed to be a great improvising storyteller,
Uh-huh.
the analog stuff, that way of learning is the way that you have to do it. So because you want to be able to get around the streets. When you think about getting around the chord changes, think about getting around the tune, how to play with other people. You don't want to have to, look at your smartphone to do that. You can't do that. And I see a lot of people doing that. I know they're looking at their chart or whatever.
I think I get it. So you're really talking about the way we're absorbing information.
Exactly.
I'm with you on this because I don't know if you noticed in 2019, I had a little phrase that I was saying a lot, which is you can't information your way to being a better player.
Absolutely.
Now the sheet music publishers downstairs are gonna hate me for saying that, but no, it's true. Like you can't. I mean, how much do we get asked every day? We get emails about how do I do this voicing? What does the scale mean? Or
Right.
give me this information. If I finally have this information, I'll be able to play.
Right.
But then you hear a kid who's like 15 who doesn't have a lot of information, right? Like they don't know like everything that an old dog might know. But they sound great and they're connecting with an audience. And why is that? It's because they already have this like amazing feel for the human connection, which is a very analog thing. Like you can't fake that at all. You can't get that with information.
Right. And I think that like what I'm suggesting is the music can be, what I love about technology is music and ideas and poetry and art and all these things can be spread around in a way that we couldn't even think about 20 years ago. And so I'm not suggesting abandon that and be the hipster with the typewriter, mailing out postcards. But the process of disseminating art is one thing. The process of learning how to create it hasn't really changed. So we can use some tools to help do this, but if you're gonna abandon the whole idea of you have to develop ears, which just takes time and repetition, and like really kind of a deep learning that you cannot offload to a device to do for you. Community has to, yeah. So remember when we were talking about the coffee shop? Okay, think about this. If I know my way around the city and I say, to Adam, I want you to go over by the Mississippi River from where we are.
Yeah.
So if Adam has the more of the digital mindset, he's like, okay, cool, Mississippi River, okay, I'm gonna put that in, I'm gonna put my head down, I'm gonna follow this along. The analog way is to be like, hold on, let me listen, maybe I can hear the river. Maybe I see somebody, I mean, rivers have waves, right? Or
I've never heard a river.
I'm making it up as I go, man, come on.
I've never once heard a river,
Okay,
especially from down the block.
change the story, it's the ocean. Pretend like we're by the ocean, I'm trying to figure it out.
better, a little better.
No, but okay, well, think about this.
Still awkward, but better.
Go down to the river. Okay, so then pretend like you don't have a phone. What are you gonna do?
I'd probably ask someone.
You might ask somebody now. So let's do a reenactment.
Hey, trying to find the river. Closest route?
Hey, creepy guy, I didn't give you no information.
I do. Hey, shorty. Trying to find the river. How do I get there?
So you go this way,
Uh-huh.
but just so you know, because you look like a large
That's
gentleman,
that's fair.
you might want to go by. You just walk right down the street. You'll see it when you come in. It's gonna look like you're not gonna get there.
Okay.
But you'll get there.
Okay.
But if you go one block over, there's a little donut beignet place with some killer coffee. Because you look like a man that appreciates a good donut.
I think that's an ism, but I'll take it.
Yeah, so that really is the thing, though. If you look at music as just an exchange of information that anybody can give that's not a human, but it's kind of like the difference between asking someone, can you show me how to play this, or can you show me what I need to listen to, what I need to do to be able to play like that,
Yeah.
as opposed to let me just go to Google and ask it to spit back the
I
information.
mean, not to mention all the things that you might learning things in an analog way that is not the point of what you're trying to learn. I mean,
Right.
that could be any kind of learning. So, a question for you.
Yes.
You do realize that you're the CEO of a streaming online jazz education platform.
Right, so there would seem to be a sort of dichotomy
Yeah.
of hypocrisy, we might call it.
Completely.
Yeah, let's rename this episode the dichotomy of hypocrisy. Okay, so this is what I think. We, since the beginning of Open Studio, and even when I was doing the 2-minute jazz and stuff, I've always, tried to create the content and have the wonderful artists that we have come in and create it in a way that would best assist somebody watching and consuming those videos to still learn in this analog way. Because it's not about the medium. There's nothing wrong with doing it online, doing it whatever. That's just kind of how it's delivered. And it can be done so much. I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to be the guy in the coffee shop sending VHSs around the world. Nobody wants to do that. So the beauty of it is that you can get the information right away, but the information that you get...
There's a hipster somewhere that wants to do that.
I know. Actually, that sounds fun. I love the...
Sending VHS.
Be kind, rewind.
Yeah.
But you want to so you're getting the information in an online platform,
but the information that is coming is still the old school stuff. Like if you pay attention, and I see the gentleman from Adam from my music master class here, makes me think of it, and one of his artists is Peter Bernstein. So I've seen some of his tutorial videos, and like, yeah, it's being presented in a way that's like, you know, new and revolutionary, in a way that we would all, if they had had this when we were kids, like, man, why didn't they have that? Yeah, it would have been nice. But the actual knowledge and stuff, it's not like Peter Bernstein's like, where I'm delivering you the secret scrolls that we've been holding back. It's the same thing. You gotta practice, you gotta learn from the masters, you gotta, you know, develop your ears.
You gotta hang with more experienced musicians.
Yeah, you gotta hang, and yeah, he says that. So I mean, it's the message and the way to learn the music is the same. These are just kind of things around the edges that make it easier to access. And in Open Studio, you know, we have, I mean, I've met people all around the world. We're over 100 countries, people have purchased our content and accessed it. And one of the things that I realized is that the amount of information, especially here, when we're walking around Jen, it can be like, you know, you can, all the information you ever need is in this building. But there's a lot of people living around the world that don't have access to anybody that knows anything about jazz. I mean, at all. And not even a hope to be able to access it. But they have an interest in it. And a lot of that is because of, yeah, recordings and VHSs, but now, you know, the internet going to all these different places where it can be accessed, and YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't see the YouTube, or as the kids used to say, the YouTubes. I know, I guess that was the old people. But I don't see that as evil or getting in the way. I see that as the way you deliver this analog message.
All right. Okay, so I'm with you. So what do I have to do in 2020 to shift my mindset towards an analog mindset in a digital age?
So I think
Rolls off the tongue.
I think the community thing, like, it's really a community-based mindset.
Okay.
So yes, you want to get information from kind of one-way feed, but you also want to seek out real humans, IRL, in real life.
What?
Yeah.
IRL?
Yeah, you don't know that?
No, I think I do.
Okay. So,
I've never heard anybody say it, and they say what it means.
well, I mean, I don't want to presume. No, but we want to be engaged with our peers. We want to be engaged. I mean, think about Charlie Parker, and it's like, you know, and I saw the Charlie Parker stuff upstairs, 100-year stuff, and everybody thinks, oh, he was this leader that was sitting up there with the scrolls, you know, handing them out to everybody. No, he was like playing with Monk, he played with Charlie Parker, and when he was playing in Dizzy Gillespie, when Charlie Parker was playing with Dizzy, Dizzy wasn't Dizzy. Dizzy was just a young, upcoming player, just like Charlie Parker was. So like we lionize these musicians so much, and that I'm really excited because a lot of the young musicians are, you know, come up and ask me about Betty Carter and stuff like that, and I'm so glad. 'Cause I played with Betty Carter when I was 20 years old. So like so much of what I've learned, and even like thinking about this analog mindset, I want to give credit to Betty Carter and many others that I didn't play with, and I knew of, you know, Art Blakey and all these great teachers from the bandstand. But like that stuff is like totally relevant today, and I think we need to have a movement to not be like, oh, now we understand the analog mindset, so I'm not going to wear shoes and I'm going to get my typewriter out and my VHS. We can have the analog mindset and learn, but place it in a very advanced way in the digital world. And people will actually come over to what our message is, because this doesn't exist in a lot of art forms, and the way to do this, the way to tell this story, the way to develop, you know. And as jazz musicians, and this idiom, like we have the secret information that people, the knowledge, the way to develop your ears that everybody wants. Classical musicians, rock, funk, R&B. I mean, you see the proliferation of all these jazz programs. I mean, my nephew he's a freshman at, he's a drummer, freshman at Berkeley. Drummer, long hair, plays loud, and
Oh, that guy.
that guy, you
Yeah,
know. He, that just used to be so funny back in the VHS days, man. It was great. No, but he's, you know, going to get a jazz degree. He doesn't really, he likes jazz, but he doesn't want to be a jazz player. But he's like, I know I'm going to learn how to play the drums really well. I'm going to develop my ears.
Yeah.
I'm going to, you know,
And then do what he wants.
and then do what he wants. So,
Cool, man. Well, I'm with you. I think it's a good way to think about things for sure.
Did I overstate it? Number one mind shift for musical growth?
No, I think you just said it in a very awkward, weird way, but I totally get what you're saying.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I like you.
So we're sponsored by Open Studio. Go to openstudiojazz.com. Check out the Piano Access Pass. That's all the piano courses we make and will make this whole year if you buy the annual.
That's right. And boot camp is starting this week. Can they get in on that?
They can get on that still. Yeah.
Really?
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Email us. Thanks to Jen to the Jazz Education Network Conference. Thanks to you all.
Thanks for our, yes, thanks for our live audience. Thank you so much. You know what's good about this audience, and I don't know if this comes across in the podcast, this is the best, this is actually the kind of jazz audience.
like the other episode when it was not going that great, everybody kind of backed up in their seat, they gave us a little side. Once it started getting good, they started getting engaged. That's how we do it.
Well, until tomorrow, you'll hear it.
That's it.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, we got like 4 minutes. If anybody has, or actually, I don't know if there's something else happening here, but does anybody have any other questions?
Any other questions before we're out?
And I would just say like that episode, that one was totally, I mean, I put a few notes here because I'm really excited about this idea, but that's really very typical in terms of one of us will have something, and then I think part of the whatever success we are having with this podcast and the listeners is that there is a lot of honest reaction. This is not just like stuff that we make up. We keep it very honest and authentic. And you know, we have a lot of things that obviously we agree about music, we're both pianists and these kind of things, but we do some good pushback and just kind of reactions to what it is, and I think that's a real helpful thing.
I was taking that whole time. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, like I said. Yes, sir. Adam.
So, this kind of goes along with what you're saying, but, you know, a lot of our artists, I'm sure like a lot of your artists would say the same thing, especially the older cats, that, they talk about the fact that the information overload is kind of a blessing and a curse, right?
Mm.
So you have all this stuff instantly at your fingertips, which is, you know, we create, but I hope we do create it at a level where we're really trying to help these people with notation and all these things and breaking it down from whatever. I'm not going to toot our horns. But the fact is that if you talk to like Dave Liebman or you know some of these guys, they say, you know, I remember when the record came out. I took that record. I had the money to buy that one record. I wore it out.
Right.
I wore that one record out. I didn't jump around to so and so and say, okay, well wait, let me search Clifford Brown. Let me search this. Let me search this.
Right.
Oh wait, there's a live version of this. Like, oh, I've never heard this. There's so much that I think that people, that kids now, they get. And I know this isn't podcast related, but you know what I mean. You know, they get nervous. I think a lot of the kids now, it's a little scary. Even when I was learning, and you know, I was a young bass player, I had to buy records and then tapes, and then you know, you had a few that you would really practice. You didn't have the amount of options, and so as an older person, and I'm not old, I love the fact that I can get all this stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so this is to me, this is kind of tying in with the analog, and I feel like you're onto that. You know, I think that that's true. Like, you have to make it analog somehow. You have to resonate with something, and kind of stick with it, and just try not to tweak out. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. I mean, I totally agree with all that. It's something I mean, I think we all, regardless of age, struggle. Like it's not just a thing for young people. I mean, I get on there like, Clifford Brown, Fats Navarro. Oh, he played with Taylor Swift. Wow, she's got a new video. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know, yeah. So I mean, that's just something I think as a society we have. I think the difference is when you are at those very formative ages where your development is very much rewarded by very focused kind of practice. We did have an advantage because I was the same way. It was like somebody would tell me about a record, you had to go find it, and then I mean, it wasn't that we were so much smarter about our practice. We just didn't have as much stuff, so you had to keep listening to the same thing.
I don't think there's one right way, one good answer for this. I think the young generation is going to figure something out that we wouldn't even think of. I mean, before there were records, people had to learn live or from sheet music, and so music still got made, great music still got made.
Yeah.
And now everybody has everything, and it seems overwhelming for us, and probably more so, you know, but I think good artists will find a way to make good art.
And you're hearing, I mean, the level of players, I think, is probably at an all-time high in a way. And, I mean, to the point of like,
There's kids around here today.
yeah, I mean, it's so good that, you know, people are like, there's no more gigs, people are like jazz, and I'm like, there's still gigs, and that's kind of seen this thing. It's just more people that can play really good, so it's gotten so much more competitive, you know. And I don't believe this jazz is dead or whatever. I mean, maybe the word needs to be dead, but like this music is not going anywhere, you know. And I think that taking these kind of concepts that we really naturally excel at and placing them in more advanced, better production. Like I want to start going better with all the stuff, like how we get the stuff out there into new mediums and digital and otherwise. Not so that people will be overwhelmed and not be able to focus, just so that we have some focused content available there. So that when young people come along, it's like, you know, your videos are like, they're not like the kind of, it's not like being on YouTube or Facebook where you've got a lot of likes saying, you know, I mean, we'll talk about, we're on the podcast sometimes, one of our things we go, like, hold on a second, man, I gotta, oh damn,
you know, then you're like lost in the thing. So to have the equivalent, whether it's on video or whatever, of something that you just need to watch, even if you pause it or whatever, absorb it. I think everybody kind of wants that, and we've got the perfect thing in this music. Is like it rewards that for sure.
So you're gonna be doing an
Oh, yeah.
artist meet and greet down at our booth, 7/18 in the exhibition hall.
You too. It's both of us. I saw it, man.
I'm out, man, I'm going.
No,
We're
you're
gonna
right.
go get some.
Poor boys.
Yeah.
Poor. Yeah. So if you guys want to talk some more, please come down. Also, please come down so it's not awkward AF that nobody's there with us. So we're in the kind of back of the booth area. So thank you guys. This is Adam Manis right here. We're here.